but the question is, why should we even care? Why should we actually look at indoor air quality, at indoor environment, and take all these things into account? Obviously it's a quite complex topic, and the answer to this is basically it's always about cost versus health. While in an unbalanced indoor environment, usually the costs overweigh the health aspect, and companies, employers, real estate owners pay too much for too little benefit on the health and well-being side. So what we see here is that productivity and sick leave have quite a high impact on the cost. Whenever you get human beings involved, the costs skyrocket compared to energy costs, for example. But obviously, energy costs from HVAC operations like ventilation, heating systems, etc., have a big impact as well. Also on that cost side would be the ecological costs with energy consumption, CO2 emissions. And on the other side, we have the health, well-being of the people, productivity of the people, and reduced sick leave. And as I mentioned, this leads to very high costs, and usually on the human being aspect, the costs are much higher compared to the energy cost. And the goal is really, when looking at this topic, is to balance out this scale in order to minimize the cost and optimize health and well-being for the occupants of a building. And only like this you can really get the most out of your system. And this is to circle back again to what I mentioned in the very beginning, is why it's so important to understand the context where we are in. So on your left side, you see an example that could be, for example, in Singapore, where you get generally warm and humid air from the outdoors. And on the right side, this is a typical situation here in Switzerland. Today it's even snowing, so very cold day. Generally, you get much drier air from the outdoors, so it's very different, and it obviously has a very different impact on the indoor environment. And only when we really understand this, we can also start optimizing it. Now, I talked a lot about humidity. Let's have a closer look why this particular topic is so important. Recent scientific evidence shows that the survivability of bacteria, viruses, etc., as can be seen here in this chart, gets minimized if we achieve a range of relative humidity between 40 and 60%. So this shows already, if we are in a setting somewhere in Southeast Asia, we need to make sure that we bring down humidity to these acceptable levels, while here in Switzerland, we need to make sure that we actually reach levels of at least 40% in order to reach or achieve these goals.